GarageBand, I am about to expose you for what you really are. What's up, people? Welcome to the channel where we talk about music licensing, music business, and music production. If you enjoy any of the previously mentioned, be sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date on all my latest content and hit that bell icon so you know exactly when that new content drops. So, we are back. I hope y'all good, man. How y'all feeling? How are you doing today? Listen, I've been in GarageBand iOS and I've been doing some production in there because I've been trying to, I feel like I haven't really been spending a lot of time in it since, I first started using GarageBand like around 2005. And then I eventually kind of made these steps from, Pro Tools to Logic and things like that. And yeah, like I've just completely forgot about GarageBand. So I was just like, yo, let me rekindle this old relationship, this old flame of GarageBand. So the reason why I started using GarageBand more on my iPad is because it's the closest thing and experience to Logic Pro on a desktop. It's not perfect though, so that's why I'm doing this video. I want to talk to you about the pros and the cons of GarageBand iOS from a pro producer perspective. So I always like to start off, I like to start off with the positives. So let's start with the pros. It's free. I mean, that's always an advantage. It's free, it doesn't cost anything. You download the app on the iPad, boom, you have a free DAW that you can get ideas out, whether it's on the go, whether it's at home, on the couch, like it doesn't matter. Like it's free, you download it, you're good to go. So that's that's pro number one. Number two, the thing that I really like about GarageBand iOS, and even GarageBand, it does it with GarageBand too, is that because I'm a Logic user, I can just open up a GarageBand session in Logic and all my MIDI and things, and even the sounds, if I'm using the stock sounds, those sounds pull up in Logic, no issues. I can finish off the project in Logic Pro. That is a huge benefit and convenience for me, because when I was using, BeatMaker, I have BeatMaker as well, I would have to bounce the stems out, which BeatMaker kind of makes that process simple, and I'll get into how GarageBand doesn't make that simple at all a little later on. But yeah, just being able to take the session, pull it from your iCloud drive or whatever, and just open it right up in Logic makes life super duper easy. So that's definitely a pro for me. Number three, it has a graphic EQ, very similar to the one in Logic Pro. It's a 3-band EQ, but you can see, like where your frequencies are, which is really great. If you're a visual person and, you just like to see where things are, so you can, add or subtract certain frequencies, it has that in there. So that's pretty cool. But speaking of graphic EQ, like let's pause. If you do not understand the concept of using EQ to create clarity and space in your mix and have things sit in their own frequencies and keep things from getting muddy, you have to check out my Urban Mixing Made Simple video course, where I show you tips and tricks and mixing methods that I use to clean up my mixes, how I use EQ to do that, how I use EQ to create space, how I balance my kicks and 808s, because some of y'all's kicks and 808s are sounding real muddy, and it's not cool. Your tracks is clipping. If your tracks is clipping because you're trying to get the volume as loud as what you hear on the radio, then there's something you're not doing right. And I'm gonna break it down in a super simple way in my Urban Made Simple video course. So if you wanna check that out, just click the link in the description and go ahead and use that discount, because why pay full price? Use the discount, that's in the description as well, and go ahead, grab that, step your mixing game up. And if you learn how to mix and you get dope at that joint, you can add that as another stream of income as a producer. You can mix for other people, other artists, other producers who don't feel like learning mixing, which I don't know why, because they leaving a lot of money on the table. But go ahead, grab that, step your mixing game up. And the last pro that at least I've recognized while using GarageBand is the ability, and I didn't even know this until I don't know, like I was just trying to figure out how to get my drums in, but you can actually import your custom samples, one-shots, whatever, into the sampler in GarageBand. Like GarageBand has a sampler and you can load those sounds up and you can play them, which was huge for me because you know, the drum sounds and kits are okay in GarageBand iOS. I'm not crazy about them, but you know, I like to bring the drums that I use in because, you know, I don't have to spend a whole bunch of time trying to mix them and get them right because everything is pretty much set for the most part. So the ability to do that and add my own samples and my own, you know, producer tags and vocal chops and all that stuff, that was very, very huge for me. So shout out to GarageBand for having that feature. And you can even create like samples right there in the sampler as well. Just hit record and boom, you can sample something. So super dope. Okay, so now we got the good stuff out of the way in regards to GarageBand. Let's talk about some stuff that has just annoyed me in GarageBand these past few weeks. So one of the first ones is it doesn't have like a mixing view or like a mixing console window. Like, you know, in Logic Pro or any other DAW, like there's a view where you have your mixer and it's vertical. Like the mixer bar knobs are like vertical. Whereas GarageBand, like the only way you can like adjust the volume is like on the side and you're like going left and right. And it's just not, it's weird, man. So I feel like that's a simple fix. Like they should be able to somehow create some type of window where you know, you just have your standard mixing view and your plugins are at the top, you know, your pan and all of that stuff, man. Like add that, GarageBand, please. The second con that I noticed was, and this is going back to the 3-band EQ, is the fact that it's only a 3-band EQ. So you can't really fine tune certain frequencies because you only have 3 bands. So like you're like either taking out or adding like a huge chunk of a frequency range with that 3-band EQ. Now there are obviously third-party plugins and things that you can use instead of the built-in, you know, GarageBand EQ. But for, you know, things that are just included in GarageBand out the box or out the app, yeah, the 3-band EQ is not working in a professional setting at all. The third thing that I noticed that was annoying is that on the bar, like you can only have either the measure count or the time. You can't have both. In Logic, you have the ability to see both. And for me personally, that's a big deal because I like to see, you know, I like to see the measures, the bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like that's how I know structure-wise where things are supposed to be and snap to grid. But I also like to see the time because when I'm working on music for TV and film, which if you're not doing that, you definitely should get started and getting your music license, TV and film, and create another stream of income. I gave y'all 2 streams of income today. Grab my free 6-step guide so you can learn how to do that. The link is in the description as well. But when I'm working on music for TV and film, I need to know what the time is, like how long is this track? Because I like to stay around a certain length. I like to see what the timing is because that stuff is important. You don't want a super long intro, you know, you don't want a super long track, and then you don't want it too short. And then if they're asking you for like specific lengths for your tracks, and you want to make sure you're giving them what they want. So that's huge. Being able to see those both at the same time would be huge in GarageBand for me, but they don't have it. The fourth con, and I believe we have more cons than pros. I don't know, it's just the way it is. You can't bounce individual stems all at once. In beatmaker 3, like, you know, you just select whatever you want to bounce, blah, 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 boom, hit bounce. It bounces all of them out. It's in a folder. You're done. Just one time, one pass. In GarageBand, you have to go to each individual track, solo it, exit the session, press and hold the session, share, and then select where you want to put it on the iPad, which iPad's file management system is still trash. I don't know when they're going to update that, but it's just a hassle, and you have to do it for each and every track. So if you're like producing a full track in GarageBand and say you have like 10 tracks, then you have to do that 10 times, and it's time consuming. So I feel like if they would add a feature to where, you know, you could just bounce out all your individual stems into a folder all at once, that would be super dope as well. And I know, I mean, the iPad can handle it. It's just a matter of, you know, these developers making it happen. And the fifth and final con that I know about so far is, and this I recently came across this like 2 days ago, like no lie. Like I was just like, yo, like this doesn't make any sense. So, you know, if you're a Logic user, you know in Logic, if there's a region that you want muted, you can just click that region, click M, and then it mutes just that region, not the whole track. In GarageBand, if you try and do that, you click the region, you click M, it mutes the entire track. So if you don't want that region, say in your verse of the song, you have to actually just delete the region. And I guess I'm just not used to doing that, because in Logic, I just mute it because I may actually want it there. So I feel like little things like that are just things that are kind of annoying with GarageBand. But still, it's like the closest thing you can get to Logic, and some of the shortcuts and things, a lot of the shortcuts are very similar to Logic. So that's what I like about it. Right now, I've just been using, especially if I have to bounce the tracks out, I've just been using it to kind of get my ideas out, get a general structure, and then I'll just finish it up on Logic Pro. And then also there's no master track. The only time a master track really comes up is if you do like the effects thing. But yeah, there's like, I don't think there's like a master track. If I'm wrong about any of this stuff and you guys have like figured it out and became geniuses at GarageBand, like let me know in the comments, because I could very well be missing some stuff. But yeah, like I didn't see like a master track to throw like a master, you know, a mastering chain on or something like that. If I wanted to do an entire track from beginning to end in GarageBand. So that's another one, that's like 6. Now, as far as the EQs and the plugins in GarageBand, I'm not a huge fan, mostly because I don't like the way they look. Like, I don't like just like lines in like a circle that you like, I don't know, it's boring to me. So I like to see some plugins, man, some graphical user interfaces. And I've recently been using Mixbox from IK Multimedia. I was telling them about me doing some production on the iPad. They sent it over and I was just like, yo, this is the solution that like I've been needing for this whole GarageBand production thing. So check it out. Mixbox is just a beautiful looking, it's like a rack, right? And you can throw in whatever plugins you want in one instance of this plugin, right? So you can throw your EQs on there, you can throw your compressor on there. If you want some saturation, you can throw that on there. If you want to customize the sounds that you're playing in GarageBand, you can select some of the presets that'll completely change the sound. And it literally has taken my GarageBand production to the next level. So I'll leave a link to that in the description as well if you guys want to check that out from IK Multimedia. Recently did a giveaway on my Instagram page to a lucky producer to get a free copy of that. So thank you IK Multimedia for making that happen, and thank you guys for sending that over. Super dope plugin, and yeah, it's definitely like used on every track on my GarageBand production. So super dope stuff. Question of the day: what are some pros and cons that you've noticed in GarageBand? Let me know in the comments, and yeah, maybe I'll come across some gems that I can start using to make this experience a little bit better. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you've been considering using GarageBand, or you're just getting started using GarageBand, or you've been using GarageBand and you just like to surf on YouTube watching videos about producers talk about GarageBand, hopefully this video was helpful. If you liked the video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.